So you just need to be aware that the DAS, you will mould it and then you will sand it back. So you get some coarse sandpaper and you just sand it back, being careful not to inhale the dust. And if you put a bit of newspaper underneath, then you can do that. But you can refine the shape using the sandpaper. It's really, really good. And this is, you know, if I really wanted to, I could make that a little bit more. So what I want to do now is I want to show you a couple of things about the shape. Now, some people think I'm a genius and I'm going to do a really, really fancy one. Don't. The best blocks are simple. The shapes are strong and bold and not too detailed. So if you were to say, I've got my dome block there, whoopsie, and I'm going to do something with little beautiful flowers on it and it's going to be built in and I'm going to block it and it's going to be wonderful, you will go mental trying to block that. Because if you think about what Paris Eiffel will do or cinema, it'll be bunching up and driving you bonkers. Don't even go there. You're better, so not complex shapes. Okay, simple shapes are best. And by that I mean, if you've got your dome there, my beautiful block that I've lost somewhere, I think I'm going to make one out of DAS because it's gone. Both of them have gone. If anybody knows where they are, I'm over here. I really want them back. But if I wanted to, I could do a shape like this, which is effectively my parasite. And then you can block that a number of times. And if you really, really like it, you can actually send that shape to the block maker and have it made. All right? The other thing to avoid is really fine shapes. So for instance, if you were doing something like this, if you decided to do one that is actually going to be made into a full crown, so you've got your felt blocked over the top of that like that, and let's just say that you really like that men's trilby shape, you could actually make a trilby shape on your block, and depending on how good you are at sculpting, you can build in the shapes that you need to create your trilby. All right? And that can be a really good way to get you started, and especially if you're only going to make, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll save you, you know, $300. If you have a look at the block makers' websites, you'll realise that they do charge a lot of money, and if you're not going to use it regularly, it's going to cost you a lot, and you are going to wish. Can we please turn off the microphone? Just mute yourself. The other thing that I want you to avoid is really super fine kind of things like this. So you can see that the stuff was crumbly and it will break off if you make it too fine. So if you can, instead of having something super fine like this, just knock that little baby off and round it off like that. That shape would be fine, you know, that would work. But it's when it's super fine detail, then that's inclined to crumble and break off. So you've got a couple of choices. You can choose to make something that you're going to cut around the shape and block inside, or you can actually make something that is an adaptation on a dome block. When I first started doing this, I actually moulded the stuff straight onto a wooden block. It was a shape I really like, and I've still got that, but I can only use that block one time in one shape. And after that, somewhere along the line, I tweaked that if I did it on the felts, then I could reuse, and I could have a dome block, and that's why I think it's a really good idea that you will have a dome block. And then I can have 2, 3, 4, 5 new shapes. It costs about $16 or $17 for a big packet of that DAS, and it costs you, you know, $10 or roundabout for a felt that you can sacrifice that for the cause, and then you can create shapes that you can use again and again. Kath, you got a question?
I do.
Yeah.
I know you said it's not for the long term, but is there any way that you could make it a little bit longer than a 1 or 2 times?
No, 6 or 8 times. I've used
okay.
my one that's a permanent block. I've used that 10 or 12 times. The thing is, the more you pin into it, it can crumble.
Yeah.
But then if you wanted to, you could get some more stuff and smear it in and keep on going.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing is, if you wanted to, you could paint it with, I've painted mine with varnish, and that kind of makes it a little bit more permanent.
And do you cover that then again with, you know, a Glad wrap when you're
Yeah, of
painting and
course.
doing
Yes,
all the
yes,
normal
yes,
stuff?
always, yeah.
Yep.
Whatever you block, always use your Glad wrap, and that way you're protecting the whatever you're making from the block, and you're protecting the block from whatever you're making.
Yep.
So I think that's really important. Thank you, that's a good question. Anyone else got any questions? Yes, Sunday.
Is it toxic when you start it?
No. You just need to be careful that if you slap it and you make the dust fly, you know how there's a bit of a fuss about people inhaling dust at the moment and the silicosis with the stonemasons. Well, I'm not going to wish that on you guys. So I would say even just your COVID mask would probably protect your lungs a little bit. But if you do that in a peaceful environment and you're sanding it and keeping it low and you're up high, I don't think you should have a problem. But thank you, that's a really good question as well, because you've got to do things safely. Any other questions? Okay, the next time we run a video, and sorry about bossing around you, crew, but the next time we have a video, I'll show you, and I'll get somebody who's worked out their design, and I'll just get them started, how to actually get the stuff to stick onto the felt, and then we're good to go. Thank you, everyone.